My name is Andrzej Joseph Dybka. Welcome to the show. Today, I am very excited, finally finding my first Polish guest. Please let me know if I say this right. Ania?
Anya,
Anya?
Anya.
Anya. Okay, Anya, welcome. Thank you so much for making the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm excited because I was looking through your videos on Instagram and you have a lot of good ones. And I seen that. Are you inside Wroclaw? Wroclaw?
Yeah, I live in Wrocław. That's correct.
Okay, cool. So I was back in Poland in 2014, and that's where I spent a majority of my time. Beautiful city.
It is. It's highly underrated. Yeah, it's a really
Yeah,
beautiful
my
city.
father is from there. So I went from Warsaw and then I went to Krakow. Is that how you say it? Krakow?
Kraków.
Krakow, and then
Kraków.
Wrocław. And I'm looking to go back actually this year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so
I'd be happy
please.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be happy to show you some really cool places that you probably don't know about.
that would be incredible. Please let me know a little bit about you and how you ended up in Poland. I seen that you were from the United States and you ended up after 36 years, was it? Going back to
That's correct.
Poland, like what is that about?
Well, I was born in Poland, even though I sound completely American, right? I moved to America when I was 7, and I grew up in Chicago. And I think I spent about 24 years in Chicago and 11 years in San Francisco, hence the ironic background here. So California is definitely like it feels more like home than Chicago does because it was like my choice to be in San Francisco. In terms of why I moved back to Poland, it's a myriad of reasons. Um, Circumstantial and then also just background and family pride in Poland. My uncle was part of the Solidarity movement, and him and his family were actually political refugees that had to flee like communist Poland when we were under the satellite states of the USSR, right? Like we weren't exactly behind the Iron Curtain, but we were like Iron Curtain adjacent. And so he was the first one to come to America and then invited my mom and then I arrived and we ended up staying there because Poland was kind of in shambles at the moment, right? Like a fledgling democracy ensued like a year after I left, actually, Poland. So, yeah.
What year
Um,
did your family start to come over here?
so I think my uncle left in 1987.
87. Okay.
Hmm.
That was about the
Hmm.
same time as my dad. So he
Okay.
came over in the 80s. I was born in the 90s. And he said something very similar. He said the Poland he grew up with is a lot different than the Poland I got to see back in 2014.
Well, and the Poland that you'll get to see when you come here next is going to be even better than what you saw in 2014. I mean, it is astonishing, like how profoundly Poland has developed over the last 30 years.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I remember when I was there, I kind of had a lot going on being 20, so you don't always have the full worldview. And when I was there, I was focused on personal stuff going on. I couldn't fully appreciate what Poland really was like.
Mm,
I did notice that how clean the city was, and I noticed that how safe it felt. But those weren't really on my radar as much as they are as someone in their 30s, right?
definitely, definitely. So,
Oh,
like going back to your question about why I moved back, that's one of the primary reasons is the safety and the cleanliness. So I don't know if you've ever been to the Bay Area. It's absolutely beautiful. I love San Francisco. I worked in the financial district. I was a banker.
mm,
But it was incredibly dirty and incredibly unsafe. There's a lot of people with drug problems. The homeless problem is absolutely insane. Um, yeah, I'm going to say it. So there was actually something called the poop patrol, and they would actually like get on these streets with hazmat suits on and power hoses and wash the streets every morning at like 5 a.m. Because there was like human feces in front of our
mm.
buildings and on the street. Absolutely horrific. And so that's not something that you see here ever in Poland. I mean, like as an aside, I did leave my husband, who I was with for 18 years, and so he moved back to Chicago. I stayed in San Francisco. I gave it a go for about a year, living alone, and it really like as much as Like I lived on the outskirts of San Francisco in a really nice neighborhood called Walnut Creek. But even there, it was starting to get pretty unsafe. Like the mall there, I think was attacked like at least two times while I was there, where people just like pillaged the stores and the restaurants. And we had a lot of break-ins, people like following people home from restaurants. And then,
Which
yeah,
is a
so,
shame because California is so naturally beautiful.
oh, it is. It is. It's my happy place. It
Hmm.
really is.
And
Yeah.
then you just
Yeah.
have all of that moving in. I have never actually been to California, but I have a lot of friends who have been. And it's similar over in Philadelphia where there's so much homeless, there's so much drugs. Kensington is like really well known now where it's like the open drug market. And these
Yeah.
places are just unlivable, in my view.
Yeah. That's
And
kind of what
I've
it's
heard
starting to
about the
feel like.
poop app for California where you can like see where it is on the app and avoid those areas.
Well, definitely the Tenderloin. It's never safe to be in the Tenderloin unless, I mean, the poop is everywhere. But you wouldn't think that it would be in places like the financial district, right?
Yeah.
And it was. And it was. And I was witness to a couple of my coworkers actually being assaulted, like being hit by homeless people. One of our VPs almost had her finger broken up because somebody was trying to steal her phone. I mean, and this is like during normal business hours, right? And so initially, I thought I would move back to Chicago. I have a lot of family still back in Chicago. But in 2022, I visited Poland with a foundation that I co founded with one of my Ukrainian um, coworkers at the bank. And I came to Poland. My work was amazing. It gave me leave. I was here in Poland for 2 months working with Poles to rescue Ukrainians out of Ukraine and as well as animals. I see you've got your cute dog over there. We rescued a lot of animals as well. And it was kind of the first time that I saw Poland at its best, if you will, right? Like, let's be honest, when you have this type of huge influx of refugees, it's completely unheard of to have an entire country like open their heart and literally open their homes. There were no refugee camps. And that cynical, like surly stereotype of the Pole that I kind of grew up with, and I think has been portrayed by many to include Tolstoy. That's how we describe Poles, that we're surly. But it completely changed my worldview on Poland. And like you said, it's incredibly clean, incredibly safe. The cities are just so state of the art. The food is amazing. The craftsmanship is amazing. Pretty much everybody speaks English. Not that that's a problem for me. I speak fluent Polish as well.
Hmm.
But we have a lot of foreigners here. We have a lot of Americans. We have a lot of American companies that have like invested very heavily, like Google. Um, so you see a lot of people living their best life. And I came back to San Francisco and I was like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I should be in Poland.
Wow.
Pardon me.
And I've heard Chicago has a lot of Polish people, like maybe the most dense population in the United States. Is
That's
that
correct.
correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. I'm not sure why. I'm not
Yeah,
sure why
because
we chose.
in
I'm not sure
Philly,
why
we
we
have an area
chose.
called Port Richmond, and that's where like a lot of Polish people lived. And I'm sure some still do, but it doesn't seem like a big population anymore.
Oh no, it's still like millions of Poles in Chicago.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you decided, you went back and you're like, what am I doing? And you were going to go get your Polish passport, or you already had it? Like, what happened
I
there?
already had it. Yeah. So because I was born in Poland, I automatically had a PESO, which is basically like a social security number. And then I always made sure to have an active Polish passport because I still had my dad over in Poland. And so I would come and visit every summer and sometimes even in the winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I haven't been there in the winter. Is it brutal or is it just like here?
It used to be really brutal. It used to be like really brutal, like Minnesota brutal,
Hmm.
like Toronto brutal. But now it's quite temperate. I mean, like this last winter, it mostly rained. It almost made me feel like I'm having a California summer or winter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
it is gray. It is gray. I will say that.
it is gray. So more like an England kind of vibe.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
Okay. So for me personally, so I grew up in the United States and my father came from Poland and he met my mother here. And so my father passed 2 years ago. And there's a
I'm so,
real Thank you. There's a real draw for me to like connect more with my roots.
Mm,
And then, being in Poland in 2014, seeing online how Poland is, I heard they just hit $1 trillion economy, safe,
hmm.
clean. And then obviously the blood in me, I've been working on my Polish passport. And so I just got my new birth certificate and actually says father is from Poland on it.
Hmm.
So then I'm working on the marriage certificate. I'm getting a new US passport. And then my uncle, who's next of kin, is working on the documents as far as like a death certificate, birth certificate. And so I'm really trying hard to be able to have that as well.
Okay, amazing. Well, one thing that you should definitely know about Poland is bureaucracy is a real thing here. And so you will have to have all of your ducks in a row. You
Yeah.
will have to have all of the documents, right? Like
Hmm.
they're very much sticklers for that. So,
Yeah.
but good for you. Good for you connecting with your roots.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's always something where it's like you kind of, I waited too long to kind of go about it in a way where it's like I could have done it 10 years ago. But of course, life never works out the way you think it's gonna, right?
You know, it's not worth regret is not worth your time.
Yeah,
The what's important is that you're doing it now.
yeah. And so, okay, you come back, you're wondering, what am I doing here? Walk me through what happens next.
So so interesting enough, and this was in the news, so perhaps you heard about it. I worked for one of the four banks that went under in 2023. So I worked for First Republic Bank. I loved my job. I worked there for almost a decade. I had the best boss, like the best coworkers. It was, I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
my corporate job was amazing. And I thought I would retire there, if I'm being honest. But then it dissolved. It got taken over by the government and then bought out by JP Morgan Chase, which did not have the same company culture, if
Mm.
you can believe that. And so I signed a 1 year contract with them with the option of extension when I was done, which I did not want to do. And I actually filed for divorce from my husband 2 weeks before our bank went under. So it was kind of like an ironic domino effect. And yeah, then I was left with an option. I had an offer from a Singaporean company in the ferry building to work at. Um, but really, in San Francisco, even if you're making incredibly good money, and I was making really decent money, uh, the the expense of living is just so incredibly high, as well as like having very little vacation time, and then being there alone, having all these friends, but like literally zero family. And my grandmother had gotten ill. She had had a stroke, and so I thought at first that maybe I would come for like a few months, give myself a little time in between jobs, and then I decided to just go for it. I just decided to pack up like all of my things and packed it into a container, literally like all of my earthly possessions, shipped it over. It took 3 months, um, and took a flight with my cat over to Poland. And the rest is history. It was the best decision I've ever made.
What year was this?
This was in 2024.
Okay, so it's still relatively new.
It is. I haven't even been here for 2 years. Yeah. Mhm.
Wow. And it's the best decision you ever made.
Most definitely.
What's
Most
like the
definitely.
biggest thing that's changed since leaving California and living there?
Quality of life. Quality of life. Like people work to live. They don't live to work here. And so I've traveled more than I've ever traveled in my life. I'm pretty much on vacation like every month or every other month. I'm really lucky in that the job that I have is very flexible like that. I work in real estate. The fact that my family's here and everybody's so supportive, like your family is like really there for you here, for the most part. At least that's been my experience and the experience of most of my friends. Of course, there's always like exceptions to that rule, but then also like being so proud of like how far Poland has come and how developed it's become. And yeah, I mean everything from like the service industry to safety to travel. What's really not to love, I guess. So
Yeah. I remember my father pointing out that the food in Poland isn't contaminated to the
process.
same degree as it is in the United States with the chemicals and the
Correct.
preservatives and the colors and all these things. Is that true?
That is very true. Yeah. I mean, I was very lucky to live in California where I had a farmer's market like 5 days a week. And I had like an egg lady, a strawberry lady, and whatnot. But here you can actually find that stuff like in the local grocery store where they curate it from local farmers. So yeah, you can definitely feel a difference. I mean, I like I have a video about this and it's not even an exaggeration. Like I look younger now than I did when I first moved here.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You look very
Yeah.
healthy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so you've lived there almost 2 years. As
Mhm.
far as career goes, you said real estate. Are you selling real estate in Poland? Or are you doing online work? Like, what's going on
No, in
exactly?
Poland, in Wrocław. Yeah, I work
Okay.
in Wrocław. And that's
Wow.
pretty much our territory, like in and around Wrocław, like up to Poznań or so.
Mm,
We have a pretty large what radius, if you will. And
mm,
sometimes we expand into like Gdańsk and Warsaw, depending if we get referrals and whatnot. And I predominantly work with English speaking clients, which there's a lot of. There's a lot of English speaking clients. So not necessarily from America, UK, Ireland, but Germany. We have a lot of people from Germany, Sweden,
mm.
Norway. It's very interesting to me that the countries that we used to hold like at such a on such a high pedestal, they're now coming here. They're now
Yeah.
coming here for a better life. Yeah,
And it's for such a basic reason at the foundation of it, which is the safety and the cleanliness. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a society that isn't safe, isn't clean, who wants to live there?
exactly. Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
I had a woman named Emily who had been to 185 countries on about a month ago. And we were talking about all the countries. She's like, Poland is just such an exception. I just remember walking around feeling so safe as a woman. The
Yep.
food's incredible. The people were incredible. There's just nowhere like it.
I would have to agree with that. That's why I moved here. It would have been much easier for me to move to like the UK or Ireland, right?
Hmm.
My English is great, and a lot of companies, American companies, kind of work with them and have their branches there and whatnot. But I didn't feel safe there. And I've been to the UK and Ireland several times. I love them, especially Ireland proper. But yeah, the amount of safety, the amount of cleanliness, it's just different. We are 100% 10 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah. And I think for the people around me as a society, it's kind of accepted where it's like a city has to be dirty because it's a city. There's so much going on. There's traffic. There's this and that. But then you go to a city like Wroclaw. So I don't know why I am having a hard time saying it today. Wrocław,
So it's Wrocław. Mhm.
Wrocław. You go
Very good.
there. It is a city. It's completely clean. The trains run on time. Everything's affordable. They have nice parks. There's tons of
Mhm.
walking space like downtown. There's parts you can't drive on, right? So you can just walk
That's
around.
correct. Yeah,
And they have like Christmas markets. And unlike Germany, where the people are driving into the Christmas markets, the foreigners, it's just beautiful and safe.
it is. And you cannot drive in there. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
We do a lot of walking here.
yeah, and the public transportation is just so user friendly. I remember something coming
Yes.
every like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, it's usually on a 10-minute basis for the trams. And then the trains, are exceptionally clean and safe and on time as well.
And
Yeah.
here they smell like urine, like all the public transport
Oof.
over here. So most people don't even use it.
Yeah. Well, trust me, in San Francisco, they smell even worse.
Yeah, I bet. Um, why did you choose that area? Is it just because family is there, or what made you choose that city?
I it is mostly because of family because I was helping to take care of my grandmother before she passed.
Mm,
And so but Wrocław has always kind of been in my heart because both my parents finished university there, and it is such a unique city. Like it's not super big, it's not super small, like it's not one of the smallest cities. It's like Goldilocks. It's like the perfect balance of everything. And some people call it like the Vienna of Central Europe. I mean, they would say Eastern Europe, but we're actually centrally located.
Yep.
Um, it has 300 bridges in Wrocław, and so we're surrounded by the Odra River, and there's so many cool places and islands that have their own unique kind of like borough. I love Wrocław,
It's very
but my
charming.
uncle, it is very charming and colorful and has so much history. I mean, before it was German, it was Polish. And so I know a lot of Germans like to say that it's Breslau, but it's not. It's Wrocław.
Mm.
And then it was Breslau, and now it's Wrocław again.
And I see the little gnomes. I remember when I was there, you had all the little gnomes spread throughout the city.
Yeah, we do. There's hundreds of them. Do you know the backstory behind those
I
gnomes?
don't know.
Okay. So it's actually it has to do with the solidarity movement and like the underground way that people had to strategize and work in order to overthrow the communist government. And
Mm.
so yeah, it's kind of like a nod to the leaders that led that underground movement.
Beautiful. I was
Mm.
actually planning on going to university there to learn history and the language. Time wise, it got kind of condensed, so I wasn't able to. But I'm looking to come from October through Christmas this year and spend like a full 3 months, get more of the passport application, really just everything in line, see my uncle, spend some time there. And I'm really
Yeah,
excited about it.
that's awesome. It's one of the most beautiful universities. And I know I'm biased, right? Because my
Mm.
parents went there and my sister too. But it really is such a unique, like the schools here, they hit different. They
Yeah.
hit different because they're so old, and they're incredibly well preserved because culture really matters here. History really matters here.
And it's a very Catholic country, correct?
It is a very Catholic country.
Yeah.
That
I
is
remember a
correct.
lot of the churches being so beautiful, like
Hmm.
nothing you'd see here anymore, at least. Well, especially because Poland's so much older, right, than the US.
It is just a little bit older. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Actually, the University of Wrocław has an incredible cathedral that you actually have like lessons in.
I came across that the other day and I saved it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you have a pretty decent large following on Instagram. Is that through sharing your experience going to Poland? Is it mainly about Poland? Like what's your aim with that?
Yeah, it's kind of wild because I started that account 2 months ago.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
it's it's really wild. Um pardon me.
Incredible.
Yeah, it
You just
really
hit
is.
11,000 followers, I think.
I did. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Yeah.
And you didn't expect
So
this.
I did not. It was a little bit overwhelming at first, I'm not gonna lie. And it started out kind of like as a life coaching channel, because I do have like that blend of being Polish American, and so like I've had a pretty successful life, and I'm very lucky in that. But I know that like my mindset and like specific ways of being and thinking and acting made that possible. And so that's kind of how it started. And I made one video after a friend of mine just showed up out of nowhere. And it was going to be like a spoof video, right? Like,
Hmm.
why do people just show up at your house? And they do. They just show up. They don't call. They don't text. I mean, we're in like modern technology. Like, who shows up anymore?
Yeah.
Here, everybody does. A friend shows up. I'm in my pajamas. It's like the afternoon. I shouldn't be in my pajamas, but it's Sunday, you know? And so I make this video. I put it out on a whim. And yeah, I think I got like 2 to 3 thousand followers just from that. And then I just kept, making some things that I thought were funny and ironic about Poland. I guess humor is definitely my vehicle for delivering a lot of the information that I do. But the response has been tremendous, especially for people like looking into their Polish roots, people looking into Poland as like that safety net. So it's incredible to have like Swedes and Germans and Norwegians and
Yeah.
British people reach out to me and be like, "How can I move there? Like, can you help me move there?" And I'm like, "I'm actually not. I don't work for the government, but like, thank you for being so interested." But I think I am actually going to put like a packet together for people that are looking to specifically like reconnect with their roots and like
Yeah.
what paperwork they need to get in order, like yourself, for example. Um,
I think people
But
have lost a sense of identity. And so something like that is so important because,
yeah,
you know, the US being only 250 years old, and then over the last 20 years, really being diluted of a lot of its culture and a lot of its
yeah,
identity and heritage. And so naturally, I think a lot of people are looking to their Norwegian bloodline, their Polish bloodline, and just looking for something to like connect with again.
yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
And so, would you have anything that you would recommend to someone coming to Wroclaw, coming to see maybe like one or two things to check out?
Oh my goodness. You have to limit me to one to two things. Okay.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Or
I
anything
just
that
came back.
stands out because I want to create like a little bit of an itinerary. I'm lucky I have a tutor who went to university there as well. And so
Great.
she's great
Okay.
and she's been very helpful with all this, but I would love to hear from
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, well, the university would be my number one thing. You definitely have to check out Wrocław University. The second thing that you can't miss is the oldest restaurant in Europe, which is called Pivnica. And I think it was established in 1273. Highly recommend that you get a meal there and have a brew. It started out as a brewery and then turned into a restaurant, but it's really unique.
Mm,
Pivnica means basement, and so you do actually go underground, and it still has like all of the original like brick and ceilings and whatnot. So that's
wow.
a really amazing place to go. Um, Goodness, I would send you like to as many bridges as possible, and most importantly, like get a little map and you can actually do a gnome hunt, and you can literally just walk around the city like check marking the gnomes off, and that is the best way for you to visit like all of the most iconic spots, to include like the top of a cathedral where you can see like oversee all of Wrocław. It's an unbelievable view. And then, like a river cruise, although you're going to be there in October
Mm.
to December.
Like till the new year.
Okay, okay. So if you were to do a river cruise, I would do it like towards the beginning of your trip before it gets gray.
Okay. Before it
Mhm.
gets too cold.
Yeah. Well, gray. It's mostly like you want the sun to be there. It really, it's kind of like the architecture trip in Chicago. Like you want to have nice weather so that you can see all the buildings, right?
Gotcha. So it's a good visual. I'm also excited because I've been learning the language, but I kind of struggle because I'm just doing the lessons and I feel like I have no application. So I'm excited to go and actually spend time trying to learn the
Mhm.
language in real life and using it.
It's one of the hardest languages in the world,
But it's so
Polish. So don't
beautiful.
feel bad. Thank you. I agree. Zgadzam się. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It is.
Because I feel as though it's just it is so hard and there's so many Z's and everything, but when you hear someone speaking it, it's just nothing like it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
I remember listening to my father. He was a stonemason, so he did a lot of brickwork and stonework.
Mm-mm.
And we were working on this Polish guy's house. His name was Shemek, and
Stomach.
they would be talking, and I'm like, why are they fighting? But they're just talking. And so
I
there's a
get that
couple of things
impression with
that are.
German.
I'm sorry.
I get that impression from German, people speaking German.
Mm.
It sounds very much like combative.
Yeah, I remember also talking with my tutor. A lot of my personality seems to stem from my Polish DNA. And one of the things is like never smiling in school. And so everyone being like, "What's wrong? Why are you always upset?" I'm like, "Just nothing's wrong. It's just my stone cold Polish face."
It's my Slavic face. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And let me show you here. I just found this old high school photo because now I'm a little more friendly than I used to be, at least
Well,
seemingly.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. Even though I was born here, I certainly smile a lot at people, and I'll tell you what, people smile back at me. Um,
Really?
but when I first moved here, my sister would she would like, what's a good word? She would try to educate me. She's like, you can't say hi to everyone, Anya. They
Hmm.
don't know who you are. They're gonna go home and they're gonna be like, who was that lady? And my response to that was good. I gave them an activity to do later when they're bored.
Yeah, I having trouble finding. I had it pulled up, but trust me, it was bad.
No, I believe you. I believe you. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you would like to say? We're gonna start wrapping up here. Is there anything that you would like to for people listening to know about Poland or being Polish, because I'm finding the more that I learn about it, the more I feel like my life actually makes sense. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but everything from showing up to people's houses and not doing it through text, people hate that, and I've always done that. So it's just funny to hear these little things like having the more of the reservedness, and all of that. I find the more I learn about my heritage, the more everything lines up. Is there anything that you would like to end with?
Sure. Yeah, I think Poles in general, because of our really complex history, kind of riddled with sad things happening, like people taking over our country. We were the first country invaded in both world wars. Then we were under, um, Russian communist government. I mean, ruled through Poles, but working for the Russian government. Trust has been a really big issue, and I think that that's something that we've really been able to work on. But that's one of the reasons why we have those stoic faces, right?
Mm,
But the resilience of the Polish people, I think, stands out the most because we could have been completely eliminated from the map, and we were for 123 years. We were completely non-existent, partitioned between three different empires, and yet we retained our culture, we retained our language all through storytelling. And so our country is incredibly important to us. And the reason why it's so safe and clean is because that is of utmost importance to us. So I know that there's a lot of like people saying that Polish people are racist and that they don't want to mix other cultures in their country. And I guess I would just like to say that there's a reason for that because people have tried to take over our country over and over and over. And so our instinct is to keep Poland safe and to retain our culture. And that has nothing to do with not wanting people to integrate because I have a lot of really great friends, like from Colombia, from India, from the Philippines, from Italy, and they've all integrated beautifully, right? And so it's not that we are against people coming here, but we definitely want them to respect our culture and, learn our language, work, pay their taxes, I mean, like the
mm.
basic things, the basic things.
And that's why they were able to retain everything in terms of how it is now, is because they actually had something that they were protecting, whereas everyone else kind of just let it all open, let anything
They
go,
did.
and in a way they're losing everything. So
They are. I mean, you said it, not me, but they 100% are.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's very sad.
Anya, thank you so much for making the time. I found this really fascinating. And
Absolutely.
maybe we can get a lunch or a cup of coffee when I come up this year.
Absolutely. I would love that. Yeah, I'll take you to some really cool cafes.
I'd appreciate that. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
for everyone listening, thank you. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie i do zobaczenia.
Take care. Bye.